Okay. So, useful phrases, talking about possibility. So we have possibility versus probability. And of course we have likelihood. So, these three, and their simply word families are good to know. So we have possibility as a, is it a noun, verb, adjective? What is it? Noun, noun, noun. What's the adjective of possibility?
Possible.
Possible. What's the difference between possible and probable? And then we have impossible, improbable, right? And then we say highly, that's highly improbable, right? Highly probable. Highly probable, for example. I want you to keep this in mind. So possibility, probability, possibly, probably. Yeah, possibly, probably, this will probably be my last day at school. Here, probably. Possibly. And of course we have other words such as when you want to express doubt, such as if it's doubt, maybe, and perhaps. They say, Napoleon said, impossible is impossible. What does that mean? Impossible is impossible? Means everything's possible. You have everything's possible, nothing's impossible, right? So when impossible is impossible, it means everything's possible. But what's the difference between possible and probable? And what is likelihood? So, an earthquake in Canada, is it possible in Canada, an earthquake? Everything's possible, but it's not probable. Do we have a probable? So probable is imminent possibility. So something that is, imminent possibility. Or imminently possible. For example, we have imminent danger. Imminent danger. It's a good word, imminent. Let me write it a little better. Yeah, imminent danger. Julia, the two computers are, unfortunately, completely different. And it's really worth it. I'm saying it as a Windows guy. Unfortunately, it's completely different. It's a different experience. I'm speaking as a person who's used Windows 20 years. More than that. Yeah. So, you should try it. You can go to Best Buy, take one home.
And then return.
You can return it. Just experience it. But the problem with that is you cannot return it now. You will return other Windows machines. I promise you. Even the best stuff of Windows stuff. So, imminent. So if we say imminent danger and imminent threat, and imminent threat, and I want you to learn the word imminent, because imminent is a good word. It happens in texts. It's there. So, an imminent danger. means a danger that is present and is coming. It's around the corner. You know, around the corner? Have you heard around the corner?
And here.
Around the corner. Not on the corner, not in the corner, around the corner. Like I said, winter is around the corner. It's just coming. It's fast approaching. It is fast approaching. This is approaching fast. We say fast approaching like that. It's different from when we say he is fast asleep. He is fast asleep. If somebody's fast asleep, it doesn't mean they go to bed and they sleep fast. If somebody's fast asleep, it means they're in a heavy sleep. Oh, he's fast asleep, you can't wake him up. At 12 a.m., nobody can wake me up, I'm fast asleep. But anyways, something is fast approaching. Something is around the corner. Just a few words, maybe it's good to know other words. So summer is fast approaching, like winter is fast approaching. Christmas is just around the corner. Christmas is just around the corner. Halloween is yet to come, the real day. Yes. So, when imminent possibility is probability. So probability is imminent possibility. It is possible. Everything's possible. An earthquake, who says it's impossible? It's impossible in Canada. We don't know what's happening under the earth. Do we know? So everything's possible. But is it probable? Are people talking about a probability of an earthquake in Canada, in Toronto? In Japan, earthquakes are possible and probable.
I'm happy. I don't need to care about
That the earthquake, people are always worried about it. It happened in Fukushima and then there was a nuclear reactor. So, yeah. So if you go there, you'll probably see him. And you'll possibly see him. Could you possibly do something? Could you possibly is it possible for you to do something? Is it possible for you to? So could you possibly tell Peter to give me a call? Julia, could you possibly stop using your phone in class? Asking for too much.
It's possible that I can, but improbable.
Improbable. That was good. Birthday boy. So possible but improbable. Sometimes impossible but probable. Some things are impossible but quite probable. Yeah. So if you go to Toronto, if you go to Montreal, you'll probably have a good time and a good date. You'll probably end up with a date after a couple of nights clubbing and yeah. Like I'll go snorkeling in a club. How does that feel? Like you're on the fish. So it's important to know the difference. Yeah, you would say the possibility of something like that happening is nearly zero. The probability of something like that happening is nearly zero. The likelihood of something like that happening is nearly zero. Likely itself, you will likely, if you go to Tokyo, you'll likely what? What will happen? People from Japan. If I go to Tokyo, I need a verb. You will likely do something, right? I will likely see,
Sakura.
you'll likely be shocked by the prices, right? You'll likely be shocked by the staggering prices. You know staggering? Staggering prices. What is staggering? It's a good word to know. The prices are staggering. The price is so high, they make your head like this spin. It's like when you stand somewhere, like on the top of that mountain, when you look down there, like it was, your head gets staggering, right? When you say the prices are staggering prices, that means prices that are mind-boggling. They're so high. So you'll likely be shocked by the staggering prices. If you want to go shopping in Spain around 9, you'll likely be disappointed. 9 p.m. Or like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
There's no luck. You can hear a lot of people snore. It's a snoring nation. 3 p.m. Everybody has had what? Paya? Paja.
Yeah.
Paya? And everybody's... Yeah. In here, people can't even sit. Like, you see people who work, they're not allowed to sit down. They should stand for like 8 hours. And sometimes it's cruel because like cashiers, why should the cashier stand up and just count your money? Why can't the cashier sit down? Because they might fall asleep. So they must develop avarice here. So, is it possible for you to, it's good to know the structures. Is it possible for you to call the manager? Is it possible for you to tell Peter to give me a call? Is it possible for you to show up early in the mornings? Is it possible for you to do this for me? Could you possibly, remember these two sentences, could you kindly, in a letter, kindly, could you possibly, is it possible for you to, you would say it's highly unlikely. It is highly unlikely. It is highly unlikely. Oh, that is highly unlikely. If something is highly unlikely, it is very highly improbable. Improbable. Well, we say, it's highly unlikely for John to do that. Yeah, finding restaurants out there in the middle of that jungle would be highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely. Unlikely, it's like improbable. But we don't say improbable, we usually say it's highly unlikely. Highly unlikely is used a lot. It's highly unlikely. This would be highly unlikely, you know? You say, for him to do that, that's highly unlikely. It's so out of character for him. You know, out of character for someone? It's not in his character. It's so out of character for Jack. It's like, not him. I don't see that happening. It's highly unlikely. It's quite impossible. It's quite possible. Everything's possible. Quite possible. Highly likely. It's highly probable. It's quite possible. It's possible. It's possible. So what is the likelihood of something happening? the likelihood, people would say the likelihood of you passing this test is close to 0. The possibility, the likelihood, the probability. The possibility, the likelihood of something like that happening is close to 0. I'd say, oh, well, maybe, perhaps. Remember the expression chances are means probably something. If you talk to a girl and she doesn't look back or talk, chances are she doesn't like you. Means probably she doesn't like you. Perhaps she doesn't like you. Chances are she doesn't want to talk to you. And they use this, sometimes humorous and ironic manner like this. If you go to a place and you see the lights are off, chances are that place is closed. You say it like when you want to say to a person that it's a very dumb thing. Don't you get it? Chances are this place is closed. Duh. Have you heard this? Like duh. They say that like for when they want to say, hey, it's a dumb thing. Yeah, like when you look at this place and you're knocking on the door and stuff, like, don't you see the lights are off? Chances are this place is closed and the guy's asleep. And if you listen closely, you might hear him snore. Duh. Yeah. So, likely is a little harder to use. To likely do something or see something, you will likely, if you go to Montreal, you will likely meet a lot of young and friendly people. And also you have to be likely to do something. You are likely to meet, but to likely do something is the thing. Okay? So we're done with probability.